Welcome to Transforming the Toddler Years, the podcast for conscious parents, caregivers, and educators who believe tantrums aren't terrible. They are powerful opportunities for connection, growth, and learning during the first 5 years. You'll explore how to use intentional language to raise calm, confident, and deeply connected kids, because the way we talk to kids becomes how they see themselves and engage with the world. Hi, I'm your host, Cara Terrell, classroom teacher turned parent educator and teacher trainer. Are you ready to nurture your children's mind, body, and spirit? Welcome, Toddler Tribe. Let's transform the toddler years together.
Welcome back, Toddler Tribe. Today we're talking about the word no. Do you know it? Good one, right, Cara? Yeah. How many times a day do your kids say no to you? Wait, don't answer that. I don't even know that you could. Today I'd like to really dissect it because no is the shortest, most triggering word in everybody's vocabulary. It has layers upon layers upon layers of environmental experiences, of sensory memory from childhood, of tone-associated implications that undercut it. It's such an ugly little word, really. And toddlers say it a lot. But they don't mean what we think they mean. So recently I was driving and I had my 2.5-year-old goddaughter in the back of the car. And at 2.5, she is starting to enter into conversation. Isn't that fun? You know, they have these phases of speech development and language development. And first they just listen and listen and listen and listen to you and respond nonverbally. And then they are able to start parroting back what you are saying in very modified versions. You know, you say 5 words, they say back 1 or 2. Usually the last 1 or 2 that you said. And so it's kind of this echo chamber type of conversation. But it's very exciting when we get there. And then they turn a corner out of the pre-verbal language and the emerging communicator to comprehensive communicator, which we love because now both of us are adding value to the conversation. We're adding information, and it becomes far more of an interesting tennis match, that serve and return, than you basically feeding the conversation. So here we are. She's just turning the corner to this. Some conversations are crystal clear. She has an idea, she has an opinion, she wants to execute and tell me about it, and then I get to say something back and forth we go. We had one recently about trains. She said, I want ride train. I said, oh, you'd like to ride a train? That sounds really fun. And so she was able to start that. That's a child-led, a child-initiated conversation. Told her about a train I rode once. You know, then she told me she'd like it to be a red one, or a real conversation. However, while they're doing this big work, if you are guiding a conversation and they actually don't know what to say back to you, you're going to hear a lot of no. So on this same ride that I'm talking about, I said things like, we're going to church. No, go to church. That's what I heard in the back seat. I wonder who will be there today. No friend at church. Notice what she did. I didn't say anything about friends. I said, I wonder who will be there. She heard, she processed, she understood that I meant the group of friends that goes and plays with her at kids' church. And she negated that group. No friends at church. Brilliant, right? When you really break it down, what's happening in their brains. I said. Sounds like you are not ready to see your friends today. No goldfish snack. Interesting conversation, right? Interesting addition. What could that possibly mean? Well, I happen to know the environmental knowledge that when they go to kids' church, the snack is the same every week, and it is goldfish. So perhaps she would like something different today. Now, with a truly comprehensive communicator and a child who is 3.5 years old, right? A half a year to a year older than she is right at this moment, they're going to have the words for that. I don't want fish today. I want fill in the blank, whatever their gummies, whatever their favorite snack is. But she's not there yet. She's doing what emerging verbal toddlers do. Thinking about it, understanding what they want to communicate, the complete meaning behind their intentions, and using the limited vocabulary and sentence structure that they currently have to try to communicate it to you. You are a linguistic detective, and you need to have all the knowledge, the clues. You need to understand the environmental component. You need to understand what they could possibly want or mean. You need to realize that they do not think as linearly as we do. As their brain is growing and evolving and that linguistic core is building, it's all the different sections and pieces. And so she's grabbing from pieces of information that she has, vocabulary that she has, and a desire that she has, and wrapping it up the best she possibly can for me. However, no is really the only negative word that she knows. She doesn't have these other structures yet. I'm not a fan of that. That's not my favorite. No, thank you. I'd rather not. I don't like that. I don't want that. She doesn't have all that yet. She has no. And that's why you hear it so much from your evolving talkers. It's a catch-all for, I'm not a fan of that. It's a catch-all for their preference, for their opinion, for their desires. And it's hard because it is also, so they throw it out with that intention, right? Let me explain to you why I actually don't love what you just said, or the idea of it, or the experience of it. But then when we catch the word no, we take it a completely different way. We take it as defiance. We take it from a place of they are not going to do what I want them to do. They're not going to do what I tell them to do. They are going to have bad behavior. So we take a word that is gifted to us as a preference to open a conversation so that we can use our detective skills to try to get to the root of what they mean, and we turn it into a prediction about behavior. We take an identity outreach and we turn it into an expectation failure. And we do all of it without having a clue that that's what's happening. Unpacking the linguistic brains, the language brains of our little people is big work. If you have been practicing conscious parenting for a while now, you understand that unpacking your own motivations, your own brains, your past, your heart, your unpacking all that is just like a lot of work. And you lived you all those years. You can start to actually connect dots because you have all the clues. So what I'm telling you today, I know it's a lot, because it means not only are you sitting inside your conscious moment, working really hard not to take that no personally, remembering that they're not doing it to be bad. Now you've got to go on the adventure that is, what could they possibly actually mean? This conversation with her went on for a while. Everything I said, every response of hers started with the word no. It wasn't just the one word though, right? They were all these sentences. Every response started with the word no. And it was my job to respond instead of react. No sing and dance today. That's part of church, is the music comes before they go downstairs. You don't have to sing and dance if you don't want to. That's my response. Giving permission. It's hard. And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here with you. That's why you tune in. That's why you listen. Because you need other people to know that they're in the hard with you. That you are doing something so different. That you are choosing a parenting style and parenting strategies that really no other generation before you has chosen. And that means that you continue to educate yourself. And the more we learn about what's going on in their little brains and their little hearts and their little souls, the more we learn. Because the more, as soon as this information is ready for me to filter to you, there's a research lab out there that just came up with something we had no idea was going on in their early development. This is an exciting and challenging time to be a parent who chooses to parent on purpose, and you're doing it. So I want to wrap today by telling you some exciting news that I realize that just calling you my toddler tribe is not enough. That we need one. We actually need to bring the tribe together. We need to bring you, all the podcast listeners, together. We need with the people who take my class, with the people who are just starting out, with the people who are seasoned. We need all of you in one place a couple times a month so we can see each other face to virtual face and actually talk to each other. So I am thrilled to tell you that I am launching a community. And it will be exactly that, for deep connection, for authentic conversation, to communicate where you're all at and what you need. And there's going to be so much more behind the proverbial wall, if you will. But for right now, I just want you to know that if you're interested in being part of this toddler tribe, where we all come together to make you feel seen, heard, understood, loved, and supported in this work you're doing, then be sure you're on my email list. It is really easy to sign up. Just go to caraterrell.com. There's a form on that page, and get on the list and be the first to know when our toddler tribe is ready for you.